In an unexpected turn of events, the slow-moving vampire got a little too close for comfort with Blade. He brought the car to a halt and the vampire flew in like it was. What awaited him was nothing less than a silver bullet party crasher. Blade thought the battle was in the bag, but two more vampires popped up to spoil the fun, prompting Blade to engage the car. One vampire turned into a headless ghost, while Blade's car, like a beast, flipped another vehicle and skidded for dozens of meters. Finally grinding to a halt, the last vampire crawled out only to be taken down by a silver bullet that was on point. But here's the kicker: usually when a vampire gets hit by a silver bullet, it turns to mist. Yet this guy just stood there like a statue. Curious, Blade leaned in for a closer look, only to discover this dude was just an ordinary human. Talk about a plot twist. And wouldn't you know it? The whole street crime scene was caught on camera by Danny the vampire, who handed over Blade's greatest hits to the cops. Now, Blade's gone from hero to zero, labeled a killer by everyone. Dracula really knows how to stir the pot. While the cops raided Blade's base, he remained blissfully unaware. Poor Old White got hit by a bullet at the worst moment. Watching Old White die, Blade felt immense regret, too drained to fight, and was captured by FLA. During the interrogation, Blade had a dazed look. Losing Old White hit him hard, so the chief called in a shrink for some therapy. After communication, the doctor diagnosed him as mentally ill, saying he must go to a mental hospital for treatment and grab tranquilizers as a precaution. Little did they know, the doctor sent to pick up Blade was none other than Danny the vampire. Turns out, the doctor was Dracula's VIP guard. He faked a diagnosis to whisk Blade away. What an ingenious scheme. While Danny was feeling triumphant, he didn't notice trouble brewing behind him as one of his minions got taken out, leading to the appearance of the traitorous little brat. Whipped out a weapon and took out another, then gave Blade a shot of custom juice to kickstart his system. The sedatives were instantly eliminated by his vampire physiology. Blade recovered, kicked a vampire away, donned gear, and left the interrogation room. He was stopped by the cops, but Blade went easy on humans. Vampires were a different story. Out of nowhere, an archer joined the fray. A skilled archer appeared, seemingly delicate but wielding explosive UV arrows. One shot could wipe out nearby vampires. The minions freaked out and scrambled for cover, but even hiding behind doors wouldn't save them from the archer's wrath. With these two hunters watching his back, Blade made a clean getaway from the police station and soon found himself at Little Jess' hideout. He discovered that the archer was Old White's daughter. Old White had told Little Huey that should Blade find himself in trouble, she must help. This made Blade reminisce about Old White's advice. Even though Old White was gone, the vampire slaying mission had to roll on. At the base area, Blade once again encountered other members who were known as the Night Rangers and shared his unique perspectives on vampires. To combat vampires, they had developed various specialized weapons, including explosive UV bullets. They even had high-tech UV blasters, perfect for close combat with vampires. What a game changer. The bio-expert, blonde girl, though blind, was working on a virus specifically targeting vampires. What a dedicated scientific figure. Once the target's infected, surrounding vampires will be doomed, but it's still in the trial phase, and the effects are unknown. If only they had Dracula. Speaking of Dracula, Blade was just as clueless, and Little J explained that his capture was all part of Dracula's devious plans. Just as they were talking, blonde girl discovered a bio company making human blood supplies in shocking quantities. Blade immediately zoomed over for a checkup, only to find Sheriff All Black and a female vampire. He swiftly took them both into custody. Just as Blade was about to take action, the female vampire lunged at him, but he simply slapped her. A classic case of can't hit back. In an instant, she turned into a pile of bones, and Blade dragged All Black into the factory to see what was cooking inside. What he found was a living person, trapped in a plastic bag. It was a shocking sight. They appeared to be brain dead, yet somehow they sustained their bodies with nutrients daily. These folks were being harvested for fresh blood for the vampires, and Blade couldn't help but ask, "Won't anyone report all these missing people?" But Old Black mentioned that the homeless don't get any attention here, sending Blade into a rage. Blade gave Old Black a 20-second head start, which scared the life out of him, and he dashed away. However, those 20 seconds flew by, and he ordered the staff to shut down the life support systems. This aimed to let the poor living dead rest in peace. Blade, enraged, destroyed the vampire's blood factory, angering Dracula. Dracula took matters into his own hands, ready to teach Blade a lesson, wiping out key members of the base. Little J was also caught, while blonde girl chatted with her daughter, Little Rue, when they noticed the lights flickering ominously. Realizing the gravity of the situation, blonde girl quickly hid her daughter and recorded a message. Little Rue hid in the vent, but heard her mother scream. Smart girl knew the stakes. She stayed quiet, but when Dracula passed by, she thought of climbing out, but was met with a surprise attack. When Blade and Little Hugh returned, they found most members dead, which crushed Little Hughie, while Blade kept repeating one phrase in shock. Subtitles: the blonde girl had passed away. The recording she left behind became Blade's key to revenge. The virus she designed to target vampires had successfully been produced, but it could also affect Blade. She felt deeply sorry for the oversight, but Blade had no complaints, vowing to wipe out all vampires. They then found traces of the virus and set off for Dracula's lair, ready to take revenge.